If everybody would please put their phones on vibrate or silent, we would appreciate it.
It's been a long time. YouTube.
Testing 1 2, testing 1 2, just confirming that the Zoom is received. If one of the brothers standing by the back would close that back door for me, I would really appreciate it.
Hey, God, close the door.
Peace, once again, peace. First of all, I would like to thank the family for trusting me with this opportunity to show and prove who I am and who I was to Allah B, better known as Born Allah to a lot of his loved ones and intimate friends from his past. On this 28th day of July, which to us the 5% means wisdom build to destroy, I would like to speak about the 5% and their culture, because there is no death in God. Life is everlasting. Energy can only be changed in form. There are things in this world that you cannot see with the naked eye. And that has to be understood. You may need a microscope or a telescope, and they have other names for other devices that I'm not aware of. But I want everybody to understand that we're here to rejoice, because this man lived his life to the fullest. He didn't take any shorts, and the things he survived and went through and chose to do were not for the meek. I would like to give all praises due to Allah for leaving a brotherhood that guided me to be the man that I am. And I would also like to thank Allah Shasha, who's sitting in the back, for telling me about Allah B. When I was 15 years old, he asked me to sign a freeborn Allah petition before I even knew my mathematics. And 20 years later, he called me and said, "My man's at the school, I need you to come hold him down." And that was 20-something years ago, and here I am holding him down. So, to move things right along, because as everybody knows, Allah B wasn't into the BS, I'm going to introduce Bill Saxton, one of his childhood friends. He's going to play a selection of his choice. Peace.
Peace.
Wow. You know, Born and I, we go all the way back to childhood. You know? I mean, all the way back, you know, before I even knew the saxophone, I knew him, you know. And he watched me learn my craft. So I'm going to play a tribute to my dear friend. As a matter of fact, I just only like to say that he was the first one in my neighborhood among our little crew that said he wasn't going to eat no pig no more. I was still loving my bologna sandwich. It was hard to let go, you know. But as time went by, I evolved and I stopped eating pork. And he was crazy about his daughter, Sierra. Yeah. He was crazy about her. God bless you, little sister.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bill Saxon. The first time Allah took me to your club, I wouldn't even talk about it. 148 West 133rd Street. That's what I'm gonna tell you guys, because some things you just have to be there and experience it for yourself. Okay? I'm gonna mention wisdom builds or destroy again, because when I think about Allah B, I think about how wisdom builds or destroyed, because it is said that in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And to me, that's symbolic, because Word is bond, and bond is life. So there is no beginning, no ending. It's just a cycle of life. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Allah B was a person that renewed his history so many times. He constantly adapted, not just to the times, but to all the W's, the who, the what, the when, the where, the why, and even sometimes the how. He adjusted. He made changes. The last time I spoke to him was the Knowledge Understanding Day, and although his body was not there with him, his mind was lucid and the same person I met when I first met him. No question about it. He didn't complain about pain. He didn't complain about anything. He dealt with life on life terms. That's a wise man who knows how to build. So moving right along, I'm just introduce his grandson, Quabless Scott, who is the son of his firstborn son. What they like to call him Littleborn, but he was bigger than me. Some affectionately called him, some people knew him as the commander. He was a sweetheart, and when it came to business, he had the same authority in his voice as his father, decisiveness, steadfast, and a myriad of different virtues that, you know, make that lineage what it is. Quabless, unique, it's on you. They're gonna read the obituary. Good afternoon. Can everybody hear me? What about now? Everybody can hear me? Yeah. All right. Good afternoon again. Thank you everybody for coming out here, being here for my grandfather. I'm gonna try to get through this one take, so just bear with me. One of the things my grandfather taught us, he always instilled in us, he always called us the greatest. He always made sure we remember we was the greatest, we could do whatever we want. And he was always present. One thing about my grandfather, he was present. No matter how busy he was, no matter how much time he spent away from the family, he made sure he made up for it tenfold. He was always present, he was always in our lives. And he, you know, kept everybody together. At every event, every function, he was there for the
life of the party.
All right, so we're gonna try to get through this, okay? Lobby was born Ralph Taylor, September 4th, 1948, to mother Mabel Waddell and father Jerome Taylor. He was one of 6 brothers and 2 sisters. Nathaniel Robert Waddell and the Taylor children, Aldine, Joyce, Tyrone, Douglas, Harold, and Bobby. Jerome Taylor subsequently remarried and added 3 additional sisters to the family, Lorraine, Inez, and Dr. Barbara Brooks. In the early years, the family lived on West 146th Street between 7th and 8th Avenue in Harlem. The Taylor boys had a reputation for mischief,
Alabi, nicknamed Cody at the time, was the chief mischief maker. He attended PS 90 until the 4th grade, after which his troublemaking landed him in the 600 school, PS 6112. However, when he was 16 years old, he had an encounter with a man, Allah, Clarence 13 Smith, who changed his life. He became one of Allah's 5%ers. He chose the name Hakeem and soon thereafter changed it to Born Allah. And he dedicated himself to teaching righteousness, the knowledge of self, and the black man being God in his neighborhood. In 2 years, in 1966, he was among the original founding cohort of youth attending Harlem Prep for college-bound students and was co-chair of the political action committee, HARU, sponsored by the U.S. Congress to increase opportunities for education and employment in Harlem. In 1969, his earth, Lamina Judy Scott, gave birth to his first child, son Little Born Allah. In 1971, Born Allah founded the nation's education show improvement. However, also in 1971, at the time his second earth, Takesha, was 2 months pregnant with their daughter, born Takesha, that he was arrested and incarcerated
for an incident in the Bronx. He spent the next 27 years in New York State prisons, but those years in prisons did not stop him from teaching and inspiring other black youth, both in prison and out in society. He also used this time to go back to school to continue his education. He obtained his GED and continued on to attain several Bachelor's of Arts degrees in college. Before his release, he remarried his third earth, refined, and changed his name to Alabi. He emerged triumphantly from prison in 1998. He had paid more than his debt to society from those early mischievous and turbulent years. A great man had now arisen and sprung forth as a citizen, a youth educator, and a great collaborator and builder. He was greeted warmly back in NYC by his family and the 5% nation of gods and earths. He and Rafan lived together with his son Kahim in Queens Village. This period helped him with his transition back into society. He spent the next 24 years of his life in free society and had countless accomplishments. He led a program at Allah School teaching children computer skills. He was interviewed by countless media outlets and formed close relationships with many of the notables in hip-hop community. He worked on a committee that researched and developed a plan to rebuild the Allah School in Mecca site. And in 2012, in union with his fourth earth, True Essence, his final child, daughter La Janae, born Essence Smith, also known as Lala, was born. In his recent years, he battled several illnesses, but he continued to dedicate his life to his family and to the nation of God and earth until his last breath. In the early morning of Friday, July 15th, 2022, at 5:21 a.m., he returned to the essence of life. His journey was over, but he left a powerful imprint. He is survived by his daughter, La Janae, daughter-in-law, Poochie, Hope Scott, sisters Joyce and Dr. Barbara, brother Bobby, and sister-in-law Dolores. He is also survived by his grandchildren, Pabless, Unique, Josiah, Shakila, Shade, and his grandchildren, from his daughter Nadia and her husband Craig Reddick, Shaheem, Shanasia, Aniba, Kifa, Kina, and Anuket. He also has 2 children from his granddaughter Shade, Kinsley, and Keegan. He is left with his niece and special caregiver Natalie Williams, and a host of other nieces and nephews, and thousands of gods, earths, friends, and acquaintances that loved him. He will be missed. Allah be lives. Peace.
At this time, anybody else from the family, from Brother Bobby, Sister Joyce, Earth Takesha, or daughter Lala, who's actually on her way, that would like to come up, please do.
Peace.
Peace, peace.
Well, I just want to say that Allah be a brother that took his baby brother with me. You know, and I just want to thank all the nation of gods and earth for showing so much love to a man who knows how to love. You know, he definitely loved, and he loved people, he loved children, his family, and anybody that came in his conference. And he just was a brother who took care of, you know, the little one who wasn't there, to take care of themselves. Just like I had, I don't know if I said I'm Kurt, but I'm looking like him. I say that because when I was small, everybody, they were scared of him. But they see me and say, "Oh, that's Cody's little brother," and they jump on me. Big grown men. And then I had to go get him, and he did what he had to do. Don't you ever touch my brother again. And that's how he was, because he had that love for family where you couldn't mess with one another and not see him. And I see it in every one of y'all that showed here and showed the love. You show your love, love and respect for you. And I thank every one of y'all. And peace.
Was my daughter. She's one of the first born science of mathematics. And then one of my daughters since I was 14 years old.
Let's slow this down, y'all. Don't have respect.
I had knowledge myself since I was 14, and then like the brother was saying about the pig, got a lot of babies from the mama. I raised you on the court, and you're gonna eat this pig. So we got witness. With born, I go back from build a nation. This is just slogans through the years. Build the nations, build the bill, and the babies are the greatest. And for the family, for his children, for his grandchildren, he have 2 great-grandchildren also. He always taught the babies. The babies are the greatest. And that's his legacy. He was a teacher, and then he had 2 great-grandchildren also. So it was just love. He had protection. We did trips, we did a lot of things together. And then his home was his castle, he was the king of his home. And what he did in the street, and it was hard pulling him away from the nation. But for the nation he lived and for the nation he died. You know what I'm saying? And then he loved the gods and earth. That was his life. That's his life, the nation of gods and earth and the babies. You know? And it's a reality check for me. One and I haven't been together for a minute. We just did so much pertaining to the family, like his family, the nation of gods and earth, true, like his family, his immediate family. Sisters, 14 years old, he dropped me off with Auntie Joyce. Auntie Joyce, like the family, his immediate family, so close-knit. His brothers took care of his son when one wasn't away. His sister, Auntie Joyce, dropped me off with Auntie Joyce. His daughters, and then like the nieces and nephews, he gave everybody righteous names. You know what I'm saying? Everybody had a righteous name. And he was about the nation's business. And that's who Panama was. And we still call him on, understand a lot of it, and then like you call out a larger name, you can trips together. Her sister, born to Keisha, returned to the Essence November 29th, and he was there in June last year. We did a trip to Panama. He was there, you know, and with the grandchildren is just so great. Like he said, the babies are the greatest, and those our children, they show and prove. You know what I'm saying? Our babies, they show and prove what he taught. You can see it in the young, and they have no fear. They speak what they speak, and they speak with authority. Do you understand? And that's what their granddaddy, his legacy is great. And you can look at his family and look at his children, and you can see the greatness. Do you understand? And then that's what it's about. That's what it's about. Talk the walk the walk. You know, and a lot of people, the nation of God said, earth, you got all the documentation that you need, all type of committees. And I just, you know, when our separate ways, that's true and fine. I wanted to be married. A lot of people wasn't about that. Reality, I'm not you know what I'm saying? Like he speaks. It's choices. And I made my choice and it was well. It's just reality. It's just reality. Like born. He said, you know, like the teacher, like God taught him, and it is what it is. You know, you speak truth. You have to be transparent. And all the time and shaking your job, she wasn't about that. You know? And I have a lot more like to say than
Peace, everyone. My name is Josiah Davis, my grandfather. I love him so much. He always inspired me. He always was my hero. He touched my heart. Every time he get on the phone, he don't play around. When it needs to be done, it needs to be done. He always told me, if you're going to do it all the way, give it your all. And as I look in this room, I see all the beautiful faces and all the hearts that he touched. And I just want y'all to know, he touched mine too. Every way. Every day that I went to school, I always represented his legacy, you know. The way he touched my heart, I wanted to let everybody feel the love that he gave. So, you know, they do career days and stuff like that. To me, and he is always my hero. So I show him what he made, the legacy that he left, everything. And they be like, "Boy, can you teach me more about Allah, who I am, who you are?" He always showed me how great I am, how great others are. So when my mom passed away, he was right there next to me, letting me know that everything is gonna be okay. We never die. We only just multiply, like he said. And that's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing it really is. In the memory of my grandfather and my mother who passed away from cancer, I created this organization called Fight with the Fighters to help give hope and motivation to the cancer community by selling wristbands, by giving back to ones that we need to show love to. And it's not okay to feel like that no one's there for you when you have people there for you. And I just want the world to know that as a unity, we can touch each other. And I want everyone to know from my heart to yours that I love all of y'all, and I thank y'all. The wristbands are $5. So if you want to get in contact with me, I'll be right here waiting for you. Peace.
Hold on a minute. So what was your righteous name he gave you?
My name's Josiah Akeem. He gave me Akeem, and I know who I am.
He just like the lady.
Hi everybody. I'm born this Natalie. I just want to say I love my mom so much. I just take care of him. I work in the morning and I work, come home and I take care of him because I need it better. I'm just gonna say I miss you. And I just want to say this. He gave me my name. My earth name was Mecca. When I was small, we used to always go to the store. And he told me, you go in that store, if you pick anything that's pork, you ain't getting nothing. So, not knowing, I'm just looking, seeing if things look like pork. So, not knowing that you're supposed to read the back of the bag and ingredient. So I picked up a bag of chips. He said, that's what you want? I said, yeah. He said, that's good, that's healthy for you. I said, yeah. He said, now put it back, because you ain't getting nothing. So you gotta read the back of the bag. It says pork fat in the back. It was the green. I just want to say thank you to all y'all that came out here for my uncle. We appreciate it. I love you all.
Peace. If you could please close that back door and everybody keep the attention focused on the front, please.
Peace, everybody. I just want to say thank you to everybody for coming. My name is Jade. I'm Born Allah's granddaughter. As he would say, I have no, what do they call it? May given name? Or he just say, our righteous name? He just say, peace, grandbaby. That's my baby girl right there. I just wanted to stand up here and say, you know, all the stories, it's just great to hear about how tough Granddaddy was back in the days, because I don't know that person at all. I just know a peaceful man, and I could just remember the summers when he would take us to the nation and they would have the things at the school and we'd be in the backyard. They had all these games for us to play. It was just always a fun time. And to know my granddaddy is to know the 5%ers, to know my uncle born, and it's just to know love and peace. He was a true pillar of his community, and I just wanted to come up here and say it was great to hear all of you guys' stories, because truly that's not the person I know. I just know a loving, caring, great man. And I just want to say peace, Granddaddy, and I'm going to let him take the mic.
I love my father, and I know he was going to go so soon. We had great memories together, and one of them was one time, it was funny, one time, it was my sister's party, and I drank the whole drink of something I wasn't supposed to drink. That's all I remember.
This is my granddaddy road dog right here. Peace, everybody. My name is John Benet. Everybody calls me Beanie, though. Listen, I'm gonna just tell y'all a story. My granddaddy was a great man. My son, his name Jackson Bourne, named him after him. I remember one time we found money and everybody was making fun of Unique, calling him Big Head. So he took the money from everybody and he tried to give me the smallest amount of money because I was the youngest. And I was like, Granddaddy, I don't want that. I want more money. That's only a little bit of money. And he was like, you know your money? And I'm like, yes, Granddaddy, that's only a little bit of money. So he took the money from Quabless and Jade and gave me and Unique the most money, even though I was a part of calling him Big Head. And I was the baby, so I got away with it. But they was older, so they got in trouble. And that was just like one of the funniest moments, because I was so young, but was so smart and knew about money. And I shocked him when I said, Granddaddy, that's only a little bit of money. I want money. But he was a great man. And that's exactly why my son is named after him. Like, he was a wonderful man. And every milestone that I ever had, he was there. Like, I got married. He gave my husband his blessing to marry me. And it just saddens me that he can't walk me down the aisle. That was the man that was supposed to walk me down the aisle. But he's gonna always be there for me. He's gonna always be there no matter what. And good thing I got my brothers, because they're gonna do it forever. But I just want to thank everybody for coming out for my grandfather, because y'all showed out. Y'all showed out. Y'all did the thing. And I appreciate everybody. Thank y'all.
Thank everybody for coming out. When I got the news, initially I was angry. I was frustrated, and you know, I was just kind of going through the motions for the next few days after I found out the news. There was a lot of up and down. And then I had a conversation with my therapist, and you know, I was expressing how angry I was and how it wasn't fair. You know, I just lost my grandmother in February, and he was the last grandparent I had that passed. So I was frustrated. And you know, I was questioning God, like why me, and why are you taking these people from me? You know, I don't understand it. And I was like, I know a couple people right now that ain't doing shit that you could take instead of my people. But my therapist kind of helped me. You know, he walked me through it a little bit. He was like, well, tell me a little bit about him. What type of man was he? And I'm like, you know, like kind of what everybody else said, he was always present. He was a man of honor. He kept his word. He was like, what is your favorite memory with him? And as a kid, I remember going to the school, going to the parliaments, like she said, having fun, playing games. He was like, you know, what did he do for a living? I was like, he had a school, he touched a lot of people, he inspired, he taught. And he was a man of his word. He was a man of God. And you know, he just kind of asked me more questions, and he kind of helped me put it together. He was like, you know, it sounds like he served his purpose. It sounds like he lived a full life. It sounds like he was a good man. And you know, he let me know he was a gift. We like to hold on to things, and we like to think we always have more time, but life is precious and life is a gift. And he's a gift I'll forever cherish. So thank you for everybody that came out. And remember, his memory is a gift for all of us. Thank you.
Again, thank you everybody for coming out. I was my grandfather's firstborn. And a lot of people probably don't know what he named me. My name is Blessed Born. And my grandfather gave me my name. He was so ecstatic to have a first grandchild. He always reminded me I was his firstborn. He always told me I was the greatest. And he always showed me love. Not only I was the firstborn, but for these past couple years, I've been the only grandchild in New York with him. So I've kind of been able to see him these past few years in his condition, and it's been really hard for me. I remember our mother, she texted me just the week before he passed. She was like, your grandfather was being rushed to the emergency. I was at work. I'm an EMT, so I deal with a lot of death, I deal with a lot of tragedy. And when she texted to me, for some reason, I got texts and calls before he's had scares, but for some reason, I was so mad. Because I didn't know at the time, but it was just something that struck me, like, why would you tell me this now? Like, I cannot handle this right now. And
take your time. Take your time. It's okay. It's all right to let it out.
And she texted me that he was in the hospital, and after that, he never made it out the hospital. So I just remember playing that over and over. Like, why is she telling me this? Why right now? I was at work again, I couldn't see him, and she kind of got mad at me. She texted me, she's like, no, it's okay, he'll be all right, nothing to worry about. But that whole day, I just could not. I miss you, Granddaddy. Senator Cardell Clare was supposed to present an award. She was here. Come right up.
Good evening, everyone. My heart is so full right now. I love me because I knew him. Was truly a great man. And the way, first of all, I just want to say to you, I have another meeting to get to. The presentation will happen later. I told this gentleman when I came in that I have to leave, but I just wanted to come and greet the family. But I couldn't leave. I had to stay just to say a few words, and I'm so glad that I did, to hear what I heard about him from his children and grandchildren. That is the testimony of greatness. To hear what was said here today. Sometimes some people's family don't have many words to say about them, but today there were so many, and it's so true to him. And one thing that I feel about Alabi, when I met him when I first got into government. I think this might have been around 1998 when I first met him. And he introduced himself to us and told us that he was across the street. The first thing he wanted to talk about, my office was where it is now on 125th Street, he wanted to talk about the school, the computers, the children. And He would follow me, he would call me, he wouldn't let me off the hook. He made sure that I stayed on top of that, and ultimately we did it. But you know, I came looking for him, because when I met him, I was a staff person to an elected official. 6 months ago, I was elected to be a senator. Thank you so much. I hadn't seen so many people during the pandemic, but I expected. I came looking for him. I've been in Albany up until June, and now I'm doing a big event in August, and I had my driver take me to the school because I have to find Alabi because he has to be at my event. And that's what I thought it just happened. And I fell apart. I'm sorry, I apologize to you. But he was more than just someone in the community. And I shed some tears there, and I shed some tears after. And I said, what is it that you're crying about so much? You know what it was? Alabi, what you saw was what you got. And in the business that I'm in, you don't get that. He was for real. If he said it, that's what it was. And I miss him so much. We will miss him for that. Even when it was things I didn't want to hear, he spoke the truth. And that's what I appreciate about him. I thank you, his family, for sharing him not just with you, not just with the nation, but he impacted this entire community. And thank you for sharing him with us. He is going to be remembered. He is going to be missed. He is an example of what good citizenry is about. He is an example of what our community should be about. And I miss him already so much. And I'm so glad I was able to come here today. I'm going to join you later, I hope. I will be able to join you later this evening and make that presentation. But I thank you, and he's missed. You have my deepest sympathy and condolences. Family, if there's anything you think I can ever help you with, I got your $5. If there's anything I can ever help you with, this community I can ever help you with, please come and see me in the Adam Clayton Powell State Office building at any time. I'm on the 9th floor. My name is Senator Cordell Clear. And tell them you're there to see
me. Peace. Once again, I have to touch on wisdom, build or destroy when I think about my brother, because the wisdom to build or destroy is also love, and you can tell by everybody in this room how he touched you. I'm amazed at how I was touched because I feel like I didn't see it. The position I held in his heart, I didn't take it as a duty. I took it as just, that's my man. And what could I say? There's never enough time. But moving right along, I'm gonna present my big brother, Aleem Supreme, and he's gonna touch on some history with a law beat.
Hey.
I want to get it straight right away. When he came home, he said if he would listen to Allah, he wouldn't have did all the time he did. Because Allah told him the right thing to do, and as we do sometimes, we go along. But he came back strong. He and I met in the Bronx. It was Black Night at 67. Black Night. He was clean, and me and his brother named Sabu. He wanted to make sure he was the first Sabu. He changed his name to Gumar. Anyway, Allah walks up, he hears me and him going through the lessons a little bit. Allah see, please, sir, I love the way you brothers are built. My name's, I think at that time, Hakeem. He said, this and that. And I'm going to be with you brothers up to come to Peter Line. Do you have any change? I got to go back to Mecca. Oh, now his name is now Sabu. Reach for his pocket quicker than anybody. I never son reached that. I said, Allah B really reached you. But Allah B reminded me of a brother named Colleen, the first Colleen. His name was Colleen Sickle. Barrel chested, dressed nice, deep voice, like the barrel back there. Yeah, that guy. Anyway, when he spoke, he brought that good brother to mind, and it made me feel at home because he was from Mecca and I was from the Bronx. I mean, Mecca was going to school in the Bronx. So life goes on. Fast forward. After the father was assassinated, we all came together for school and to take the school out of the state. I went to the University of Massachusetts after I graduated in '70. While up there, Dumar was a very good friend of his that knew each other from back in the block. And they were tight because they had roots in Florida. Plus, they loved to dance. Allah B came home and danced so much when he got home from jail. I call him a floor boy. This was an affection. I said, you become a real floor boy now. He would dance for hours and hours. I said, you're making it all up for a long time. One thing I give him credit, we both was able to go. God Supreme had tickets to go see the President of the United States, some hookup he had. So I come, me and God supposed to go. I come down from Massachusetts clean and everything. God says, I'm sick, man. I can't go. I said, God, this is the President. We cannot miss this. He said, well, here's 2 tickets. Go to the school, get a brother. No. President, I go to the school. I said, guys, I got tickets. Go see the President. Who want to go? 5 brothers went out the door immediately. One of us said, I'll go if I can go get my suit. I said, well, Lord, go get it. We went to 146th Street. He gets his suit. We get down to the Commodore Hotel. We see the Secret Service all around the building. I said, Bowen, I ain't going in yet. I said, I gotta have a drink and smoke a joint. You don't know after doing that. And a little man comes to us and puts his arm around both of us. I said, Bowen, check it if we got left. Let me see your ticket. We showed him the ticket. He said, these are for real. I said, y'all sit at that table right there, table 9. It's in 71. All of a sudden, people assemble. There's black people looking at us like, who are you? They got jewelry on, big stuff. We got on suits, and I got on like sports jacket with some matching shoes. Like, we look like we're going to the Palladium. Everybody's in black tie. They're going, who is these 2 knees, you know? So, when it comes down, we got the guest of honor table. And everybody's dancing around us. People looking at who it is. One night, the white lady asked what my flag was. I said, God power over the sun, moon, and stars. You see how the effect is hitting them, God. So I told them, no matter what, let's not separate from each other. We're not going to lose eyes from each other. We're going to set back to that. After champagne was bringing us, they were bringing people to dance with us. So one time a little baby came up and presented flowers in front of us. I stood up and clapped. The whole place got to get up and clap. We never knew this type of formality. So woman said, watch this one. The next baby came up, he got up, and people had to get up. Let's fast forward. All of a sudden we're talking and now we're dancing with the people. One rich guy saying, yo, can get on my plane. His name was Ali. You can fly to Arabia now. They can't do nothing to me. Oh, they said, is he Muslim? They said, Born, all of a sudden I see 2 dudes walking on the plane. I said, where y'all going with my brother? They shook, Born shook. He came back to me and said, I don't know what got into me, man. And I said, you can't leave with these Secret Service. So this one girl, Maribel Rusick, beautiful from the Pan American Circus, they made me dance with her because we had my partner. So at the end of it, I said, can I escort you to your room? She said, well, I'm from Spain and in our country, that's not our custom. Lord said, I'll tell you in a minute. And that's our customer. Secret Service dude looked at me and just shook his head laughing. Fast forward again. I go to see Bourne one time in Piedmont. All of a sudden, people are against him. He came to Mass when they burned our house down and killed a brother and he back here. So I said, let me see what's happening in the crowd. Boy, I get there, there's about 2,000 people outside trying to come into school to kill Bourne. I'm like, what's going on? What did you do? He said, I'm just teaching. We got through that. I had to almost fight Mitch Green. It was crazy. The next week, they take Bourne away for the time being. I go visit him in '80. This is like 8 years later. About 40 of us went up there. They were so shocked so many 5%ers came to prison to visit him, they moved him again the next night. When we came and get back to now, because I could go on, he had an operation. And I told him, we're going to back you up. We're not leaving. They said the operation should take about 4 hours. 8 hours went by. We sitting there. There's people on the list. People are dying. They're coming out saying your people are dead. Oh, no. We're like, Bourne's going to hang in. Comes to 14 hours, he's on the operating table. They had to separate his lung from his back. But the scab is there. The man lived a lot of life. Yes, he did. One of the things he lived for was his daughter, Elijah. He defied death 10 years. People died. 14th hour, I'm ready to go 1485 all the way. Where's my brother? When I get up to stand up, a dude comes out with full rack, goggles and everything, like a surgeon. He said, peace, dog. I'm like, what the hell is going on? He said, I'm in there with Bourne. He's holding on. He'll be out soon, this and that. He's going to get out the next day. First thing Bourne asked us how the recovery went. Did the Knicks play yet? I said, oh, the Knicks played yesterday. They played 2 days. Oh, man. But to make things short, because I know many people want to speak, man left a good legacy in his life. The people here show that he left positive things after he came home. He made up for the time that he did. He served his time for what he did. We raised a lot of hell and we raised a lot of heaven too. Miss him, but I'm always here to support. But I'll be here for a large and the family, the whole Gucci party. And finally, one of the strongest things I saw that man when he gave the performance of his life for his son passing away. I have lost a son, so I know the feeling. What he did, what he mustered, and how he carried on building, that man gave a show. His love for his son, he kept his step, kept his back. So in that, I want that strength to be remembered. But that will go. I will see you all later.
Thank you, God. I need to share one of the last stories. Actually, the day that we met with the lawyer, and he gave me authority to hold this ceremony, so to say. He told me about the strongest man he ever met in his life. He told me his name was Allah. He said, God, I was walking down 127th Street with a girl, and I see Allah coming out the hole. Then somebody else comes, going into the hole. And somebody comes out and says, they're looking for you, they got guns in there. And Allah says, go get the guard center. So Allah, being who he is, tells the girl, go get the guards, and goes down there and stands by Allah. He told me, yo, God, you think I'm strong? The first thing I thought is like, what? We ain't gonna go get our guns? Allah told me straight up, he said, somebody invite me to a gunfight, I'm getting my gun. Allah ain't even think about that. And that was the strength he admired. Like I admire the strength he had. Because I tell you, like Aline just said, he told me many times, I'm just holding on for life. Straight up. Allah Janae, you're the legacy, baby. So, There's a brother I haven't seen yet who was one of Allah B's or Born Allah's first student in Pelon. His name is Hakeem. Okay, so we're gonna I haven't seen Hakeem, so we're gonna call the next person who's Allah Shasha, but Allah Shasha's not feeling well, so we're gonna move right along to beloved Allah. Peace. Peace.
First, it's so beautiful to meet all your hearts and we have a long history together through a long period. But I just wanted to start out by saying that this is the resurrection. Our lessons teach us is that the resurrection is not a physical one, but it is a mental one. And what we're doing now is we're lifting this one, all these experiences, everything we've lived with the last 40, 50, 70 years. So I'm going to tell you my history with this one. My history with this one. So a lot of people know that Allah was associated with the history of Mecca, the history of Iran, but very few know that he was also violent in the history of the desert. Back in 1971, Allah and Prince Allah, his name was Akim at the time, they were together, they founded the Educational Showing Program. Allah went up north in he got his prime in 1971, he went up north in 1973. And then finally, so Prince Allah was sort of the desert, and he was teaching all of us. We were all in the myself, our Savior. There's a number of gods from the desert back in those old days that was Prince Allah's students. And the teaching was family, education, everything that Allah being taught. So finally, in 1975, I was 19 years old. I had never knew him when he was on the street. And Prince Allah and them, they would go up to visit him in prison on the weekends. But this one time, Prince Allah and law education, law culture, they weren't able to go. So me and the law rule went up. December 28, 1975, we traveled up to Dannemora, Clayton Correctional Facility. It was 2 feet over snow. Those were the times when you went up the night before and they put you up overnight. So we got up there at night, 11 o'clock at night, we slept, got up in the morning, the bus took us over to the prison. 2 feet of snow on the ground, it was real cold. You see that guard tower, walls 20 feet. We went into the prison and we had this great visit with this brother. First day I met him. And the visiting room was in an old cell block. It was 3 tiers tall, an old abandoned cell block. They had a long table down the center of the cell block and cells going up 3 levels on both sides. So we were building the whole time. Allah was telling us all the history that you've been hearing here, about Harlem Prep, about Pontiac, about meeting the Father. He was teaching us our lessons, and we did that over years through letters. But at the end of that prison, I said to this brother, I said, damn, I don't never want to do a place like this. And he said to me, God, you don't have to. We're doing this so you can do your job on the outside. I'll tell you. And from there, I stepped to my job, came out, I was already, that was my first semester in college. Ended up going to engineering, getting into Columbia University, starting a career in engineering, joining one of the large engineering, or really joining a mid-sized firm and growing it into a large firm, 500-person firm, became a partner in that firm, and then just recently left that firm, and me and this powerful sister who's in the construction industry, her name is Cheryl McKissick Daniel. You may have seen her on TV. But me and her joined forces, and we launched a new engineering firm, Legacy Engineers, where we're going to be training young black youth in engineering and employing them also, and having them more blacks in the engineering field. Allah taught us through the years, so those next 23 years after I met him, from 1973 to 1975 to 1998, when he got out, we stayed in touch. And we had great moments up there. 1980, October 10th, we took a whole busload of guards and nurses up there to former correctional facility. A lot of these things was, he was always talking about equalizing the laws magnetic. And so I was just, couldn't wait to see him that day. Because just on a regular visit, when I would go up to see him, he would be really positive. So when we took these 50 guards and earths, elders in the nation, a lot of the new guards and earths who had never met him before, I just couldn't wait to see what his energy was going to be like. And when I got up there that day, this brother was the blackest that I've ever seen him in life.
Cool knowledge.
Yes.
Don't say black. Cool knowledge.
So he would teach us all lessons through letters. He would build on what makes rain, hail, snow, and earthquakes. And he would break it down that rain is plain wisdom that's meant for the babies, snow is soft wisdom that's meant for the black women, hail is cold wisdom that's meant for the black man, and earthquakes is deadly wisdom that's meant for
my physical. Yeah. And my physical over here too.
So, 1998, brother comes home. He comes out of prison. At the time, my office was on Broadway in 24th Street. He came straight to that corner, and we met him. And then Bilal was going to come up here and speak in a couple of minutes. He worked on 56th Street, 55th Street. He was in the entertainment field, and he worked on 55th Street and Broadway. So he comes home, Broadway, the heart of Times Square, and we walk up to where Bilal is with all that traffic out there, and it was a culture shock for the brother from coming in isolation to come out with all the people, but it was great for him to be back home. And one of his greatest accomplishments that we have to follow through on now is that he was one of the original guards, and he was there through the whole time, where we worked on a plan to redevelop the Allah site around the corner. That was his passion at the end of his life. He wants to see a new building there and something befitting the legacy of law and justice that founded it for us. So in closing, I just want to say what this brother means to me. A great mentor. I couldn't have a greater brother, a greater counsel to speak to and bounce things off of. He was always thoughtful in his replies and deep knowledge. So he's definitely going to be missed, but I agree. They could have a huge imprint. I just want to thank the family, first of all, for sharing with all of us. And I know that's a sacrifice. But I also want to thank my brother, Pete, who was there for this brother for all the next years. So, when Alabi came home, he connected with Bilal. Bilal wanted to come up and build. And then there was another brother who did a mentoring voice club program for me, who became with me, I should say, Klein, who was one of the superintendents of schools in our gas way. If you brothers could come up and build that, that'd be great. Thank you.
Bilal graciously is going to allow Papoose to go before him because he has another engagement to go to. Papoose is one of Alabi's last students, his brother, and his friend. Peace.
I gotta say, my brother Alabi is probably the most intelligent person I ever met in my life. I met Alabi before I even actually got a record deal or even made it into the industry. My mentor by the name of Born True, may he rest in power, he introduced me. Well, first and foremost, he said, I want you to meet my brother. He served 25 years for the babies. Great brother. And I had never heard, Born was a proud teacher, and I had never heard him speak about another man with such enthusiasm. And when he introduced me to Alabi, we started to develop our own relationship. And right after, not too short after he introduced us, because we was doing coalition. You know, Born had took us off the street, me and my cousin, may he rest in power. We were knuckleheads, he took us off the street and he had us doing coalition. We were shaping too. Anybody familiar with the construction branch, you know how it goes. You know what I mean? Long story short, when he introduced me to Alabi, not too long after that, Born passed away. And the bond that myself and Alabi were able to build, it made me feel like Born did that on purpose. because he knew I needed guidance. And he knew that Allah B was the brother to provide that for me in my life. Over the years, you know, I was able to make it into the music business, and me and Allah B would just always build. And you know, in the music industry, you got these people who, they think they know everything. So I would love when I had Allah B with me so he could shut them down. So you had this brother, man, he was shooting off at the mouth about how great Donald Trump was, and you know, so I had Allah B with me this time, so you know my chest is poked out. I already know what's about to happen. So this brother going on, and Allah B questioned him. He said, what makes him so great? He said, well, you know, since the Trump administration been in office, black unemployment is down. I said, oh, Allah B about to let him have it. So Allah B responded, he said, what do you mean black unemployment is down? He said, the youth is unemployed. He said, one of the minimum requirements for a job is a high school diploma. 67% of our youth don't have high school diplomas. So not only are they unemployed, they're unemployable. So the brother sat there looking stupid, like I knew he was, and he just kept shooting off at the mouth, and you know, I don't know if you think I'm one of these Uncle Toms. Allah B said, what do you mean Uncle Tom? Tom was freeing the slaves. Allah B said, I'm gonna need you to read the book, brother. Uncle Tom's Cabinet. He said, see, Tom was a brother who, you know, he knew how to manipulate the master and manipulate the master's wife. So anytime the master wanted to do something foul to the people, Tom would say, hey, you should do it this way, master. That way you won't look so, this will make you look good. And the master would listen to Tom. Allah B said, you know, they didn't want to give us that respect to call us Mr. or Master, not of course, so they called him Uncle. So he said, yo, you know, take your jive ass on over there. You know, Allah B was always calling somebody a jive turkey or something like that. So that's just one of my funnier moments with him. I remember not too long ago, maybe about 2 years ago or so, he was in the hospital and I spoke to him. And right after I hung up the phone, I got dressed and my wife, where you going? I said, I'll be right back. I went over to the hospital to see him, and when I got there, the nurse pulled me to the side and she said, wow, I'm so glad you came, because before you came, you know, he was laying in the bed, he hadn't gotten up, and since you've been here, he's been smiling all day, and he's moving around, and not too long after that, he was, you know, he got released from the hospital, so I feel real great about that. He taught me so much, I learned a lot from him. This is my brother, and, you know, I gotta be honest, when I got the call, immediately I just started to cry, because this was a brother who meant so much to me, and this is a major loss for us as a people. If you don't know that, I just want to be the one to sit here and tell you and bear witness to the fact that this is a major loss. I never met someone with more generosity who cared about the babies, and who cared about us as a people. And I always stood tall with him. Whenever he needed me, I was there, so I don't feel bad at all. Because I know some people wait till people pass away and they want to show him love. But when he was here in the flesh, I know I did what I had to do for my brother. So my condolences to the family. He loved his daughter. That's all he spoke about on that phone with me. And whenever we got a chance to be together, rest in power, my brother, and everything I can do to carry on your legacy, I will. Peace and love.
Dr. Bilal Paulson.
Peace. So, the whole idea of citing and identifying me as Dr. Bilal, that was one of the things that Allah was so proud of, that one of his younger brothers got his doctorate, and that I'm a principal. So, the thing I want to say first to the family, again, is thank you so much for giving your father, your brother, your uncle, your grandfather to us, because we definitely got so much from him. And can't thank you enough for just being so generous with his love and his care. So, the beauty of Allah B was this. And I love hearing stories about how tough he was and how bad of a dude he was, because we heard it a lot. But the thing about Allah B that everybody knows, that he was unapologetic with his bias to children. It was always about children. So if there was an argument and it was a adult and a child, it was always the child was right, no matter what. And he didn't apologize for it. He didn't care what nobody thought. It's about the babies. If the babies say it, then thus it must be true. So that's how I was able to develop a relationship with God, because I was a young brother in the nation at NYU, working with Beloved and all those brothers and sisters in the desert with the Word newspaper. And he would bypass everybody else to talk to me because I was the youngest out the crew. And one of the things that I'll do is just take you through some chronology of the impact that he had on me and all of us. So it was around '87 that I met him, but it was 1988 when I was a freshman still at NYU, and I was doing some work within Lisa Williamson, who then became Sister Soldier. And he was at Shawanagan Correctional Facility at the time, and he really, really wanted to have the two of us come up for Black History Month. Now you know, Shawanagan is a maxi-max correctional facility, and they just don't let events like that happen. But Allah B, with his power, with his love and his strength, was able to get Sister Soldier and Bilal, because some of you may know I was a dancer. So I tapped, and she dropped the bombs. And even though she was compelling and controversial, Allah B still made that happen. That was in '88. 10 years later, Beloved just mentioned it. When he came home off that bus, Port Authority, he went straight to his office right there in Times Square, and then right up the block. At the time I was working in A&R at MCA Universal. He came to my office, and all he kept saying, "The cars are on Broadway. The cars are on Broadway." So, then, a few years after that, never forget this. You talk about Laleen talked about how much he was a dancer. Still have this, and I hope it makes the clip on the video of Allah B dancing at my wedding, 2002. I mean, he would not leave the floor. And the beauty of Allah B, particularly at the time, because cold black seed, always serious, only smile for the children, always jovial for us. So for people to know that about Allah, he's like, yeah, he loved to dance, he loved to get busy, he loves to have fun. Dispelled all that myth about him being this big bad dude, because when he came to celebrate the family, he was unapologetic. And then the other pieces were really being a part of anything that was innovative. So his work at the law school with computers, that wasn't a surprise, because again, it was working with children. The other piece was he also was a part of developing a golf program where he would take the children to go play and learn golf, right? And then one of the other proudest moments was, again, being a part of the innovative team of developing what a law school will be. So the beauty of a law B is that he was always about innovation, unapologetically about children, and it was always about education and advancement. And the only time that I witnessed him being angry or upset is when anything would come in the way of giving growth and development for the babies. And again, yes, Lala, honestly, outside of other children, you're the one that he spoke about most. Love you, peace.
Dr. Bernard Gassaway.
So, my name is Bernard Gassaway, and you know, when I'm sitting here listening to all the stories, the one thing that I would like to remember, or have you remember, is Allah B's humility. This was a very humble brother, because there's a saying that when you're in the room, it's not important necessarily for you to be the smartest person. But I had the opportunity when I was a principal in New York City, whether it was Beach Channel High School, Boys and Girls High School, and I was also a superintendent of District 79, which was all programs and alternative schools. We would hold a meeting of principals, black principals, Hispanic, Latino brothers and sisters. And I had the good pleasure of inviting Allah B, and I had the honor of his agreeing to attend. And I can tell you, particularly to his children, his grandchildren, that your father, your brother, your sister, your uncle, whatever, your grandfather, he was the most intelligent man in the room. And that's straight up, no lie. I mean, but he was humble about it. And the people there, they may think because they have all these degrees and they're being a principal, but they didn't know that they were among royalty when they were around your grandfather and your father. And so he was a very special person to me. And I don't feel any kind of way, to be honest. As I was sitting there, I noticed the bulletin, and I see this picture of Allah B. And the truth is, it's a beautiful picture. But and knowing him, he was saying, "But where's Bernard?" Right? So Bernard is, you can't see me, but I'm on the other side of this picture, holding his hand as he's doing his infectious smile. And I met Allah B through Beloved. And I watched Beloved go through his engineering degrees and growth, and that then inspired me to go to Columbia University, where I earned my doctorate. But while I was earning my doctorate, you know, life happens. But then I'm looking at my younger brother, Bilal, Dr. Paulson here, the brother who just spoke, and then he inspired me to finish the cross the finish line. So I want to acknowledge that that's really the essence of what Born was about. He was about making connections. And there's another brother who came home from prison named Malala Divine. I met Malala Divine at an event at BMCC, where there was a panel of guards that was speaking about the nation of gods and earths. So I'm there, and Allah B says, Bernard, get up, come and sit down. And I'm like, oh, but I was never, nation. I just talk, but I wasn't with the nation. But he made you feel welcome. He embraced you as his brother, and you felt embraced by him. And through that relationship, I met my brother Allah Shasha, who we will continue to build together. And he gave me a name. He gave me the name of education. So I took it, I embraced it. Shasha gave it. So I feel legitimate. In the short 27 years that I met this brother, I loved him, and I had an opportunity, they talk about bear witness, I had an opportunity to see him at the school, actually going around the corner, getting the babies, and seeing them like walk right, like in step, locking a step behind him. I said, man, this is crazy. I mean, the way, it was just magic, really, just to watch it. And I also play a little role in terms of the school with the vision of trying to build that to the place, to the vision that he had. So whatever I can do in my small little way. And for his the grandchildren and you, Lala, there's a password. Now, I don't have much. I may know a few people here and there within the school system. But the password, if you ever reach out to me, my name is Bernard Gasway, at my website is my name, right? But the password, if you ever need something, you reach out, the password is a lobby. That's it.
Peace. So the next brother to speak is Black Justice. I haven't seen him yet, but here we go.
Go ahead.
Peace. If everybody will close the door and focus your attention to the front, please.
Peace. In the name of Black Justice Law, it's a tough one right here. Real tough for me. There was a God who was born 93 million miles away from the sun in Mecca. We know about Allah B. Born Allah, others know him as Kobe. I'm going to speak on Allah B right now. That was my brother, that was my big brother. One of his favorite words, he would say right now after I make that statement, word to the mother. That's what he would say. But I want to share a quick, brief story with y'all, how I came in contact with the Purple Man. That's how black it was. And before I go any further, Lala, if you hear, I'm going to make this pledge today. I'm forever going to be there for you. And if I can't, I'll find a way to do so. This is Black Just Law. Peace. Now, to continue the story real brief, I came in contact with Law B in '98. One of the guards by the name of Arif Allah called me. I was laid up, multiple gunshot wounds, shot 8 times. I was healing up. Only thing was on my mind was war. He said, yo, God, you got to get out the house, man. I want you to come meet a brother. I said, who? He said, Born of Law. I said, yo, God, I ain't got the strength. He said, well, find the strength, God. Pop a pill and come on. I popped the painkiller, got up, beautiful life, and Big Born True, who Papoose just spoke on. Came, snatched me up, heading up to Harlem. First thing he wanted was fish. We went to Pelon at his son crib to pick him up. Second day home, touching the outside. We went to the mosque, number 7 fish spot in town. If I can recall, it was 145th at the time, 98. We walked in the store. Before we walked in the store, beautiful light turned to me and Arif. Yo, God, watch this. We walk in the store. I'm walking slow, but I'm in motion. We walked in the store. We all placed our order at the front counter. As we placed our order, the individual who took the order walked to the back. Can't make this up, bro. Queen Herbs. He walked to the back, he came back and said our order would take a minute. I can't say verbatim exactly what he said. But in the process of we standing there, we all building free wisdom, just throwing wisdom around each other, bouncing it off. 4 FOIs came out. Two was standing on the left of me, the other 2 walked behind us. It was on the other side of Big Born True. Big Born True started laughing out loud. The one that was on my left turned to Law B and said, peace, Born Law. Glad to see you home. I'm stuck, like, is this for real? So, moral of that story, dog, the radiant sun power that he had, and he was attracted to friends and foes. And what I loved about this brother, he always stayed square. Perfect dick last time. And he spoke his mind. And at that moment, he greeted them, and we stood in the stands, combat stands. All the babies, he stood fast for the babies. He did whatever it takes for the babies. He called on me. I called on a few other brothers. Shatik, who presently couldn't be here, amongst other brothers, such as Malal, you know, one of our great brothers. There were so many of us that he called on, a few came to stand perpendicular for him, which it's okay, because at the end of the day, they're still our brothers. Everything ain't for everybody. You know what I'm saying? All in time, we will collectively come together. But I want to leave some encouraging words for you, Lala. This is all about you, man. I'm here. Before I leave, you're going to have my information. If you don't contact me, I'm going to find ways to contact you. That's just what it is. And this man was traveling on mass transportation to come see you. Took the buses. He could barely breathe to me on the phone, he on the bus. Coming to see Lala. You don't see him in 3 days, his mind ain't right. When I build with him, in the middle of us building, I gotta get in contact with my baby just randomly. So that was his sincere love. I don't think he loved you more than he loved his other babies, but however, he was presently, physically attached to him at the present time. You know, you was the gracious part of his angel. And I want to say, because of that, brother, I sincerely have love for you. I'm going to be here for you. And if I can't do it, I'm going to find a way. That's right, and I really want to encourage all my brothers who say they sincerely love Allah B. Let's join ventures with this particular task, man, and serve this young queen the same way we would serve our own babies. All these brothers that know me know I'm sincere with my word. I help others' babies as well as I help mine. Because my son was fortunately to be guided by gods outside of his dad. Built with gods outside of his dad. But loud, continuously building with my God without even knowing. So why can't I do that for God? Why can't we do it for God? So let's do it. Let's do
Peace once again. If everybody would close the back door and focus your attention to the front. If you have any private conversations to have, the door's also there. Just close it behind yourself, please. Thank you. The next brother that's going to come up and speak, his name is Nemo Librizi. He's somebody that Allah B took me into his world, although I've met him numerously in my childhood. Peace.
Peace.
Thank you.
Like probably all of you have a lot to say about Brother Allah. I could sit up here and talk all day, but I made a short statement and wrote it to keep it short. Although it may not be easy to spot the family resemblance, Allah is my brother. In speaking today about this wonderful man, he continues to live among us through the love that he shared and the profound understanding that he taught by living example. I came up a Christian, and unlike many of my friends, never once had a disagreement with a 5%er.
I'm recording, y'all.
That's probably because I make no argument against science, and it's a well-established fact that the first man and the first woman were black. So that when we read the scripture that man was created in the image and likeness of God, it's only natural for the original creation to recognize himself in these words. A lot of my friends growing up identified themselves as gods, and that was just fine with me. They would tell me stories about the firstborn and Allah B that was known then as Born Allah. And to my childish imagination, it was some combination of Moses and Billy the Kid. I spent most of my childhood out on the street, and out on the street we only cared about street stuff, about gangsters and about women who might be best described as prostitutes. But when you saw a Christian minister out on the street, it was only to lure a crowd into the church, and once there to extract as much money as possible from the faithful. Whereas the 5%er stayed out on the street because he built the streets. But understanding of the gods and earths extended far beyond mere street smarts. And I would wear out their doorstep with my constant visits in search of knowledge. And when a poor righteous teacher dropped a jewel on me, there was never a price tag attached. In fact, the only time I had to break out my bankroll in dealing with a 5%er is when they wanted dice. And they wanted dice so often that I began to feel like they were counting on something better than love. Papa Wu, known to you all as Freedom Allah, introduced me to Allah B not long after he came home. I never gave a damn about celebrities, but felt a bit starstruck to be in the presence of this legendary man. He asked me if I had any idea what it was like to go to bed alone every night for 27 years. My answer was simple: no. But how it pleased him that I made no attempt to relate. He looked at me, his eyes shining brightly, and it was the first time I would see his larger-than-life smile. He thanked me warmly, and from then on, he treated me as a friend. The scripture asks, "What is man that thou art mindful of him?" And I wondered what Allah B had seen in me during our straightforward meeting. Then I supposed how some of my friends might have answered his same question. Yeah, God, I did 10 years. I can feel your pain. And think he was rather relieved to have someone to rap with who had no clue as to the way he had carried through his hard times. And we would share spaghetti dinners and bottles of fine wine together, talk on the phone like teenagers, celebrate each other's birthdays. My son Fulano was one of the seeds who used a computer lab at Allah School in Mecca after school, and Allah B would be like an uncle to him. One day I happened by Allah School and stopped in uninvited to say hello. My buddy was not in, but the man who sat at the desk shot up to his feet when he saw me walk in. He shouted at me and all but kicked me out physically. I had to apply superhuman discipline to face his attack in a civilized manner. Later I told Allah B that I would not be stopping by the school anymore if this individual had been in and out of psychiatric hospitals. And if the gods didn't give him a place to stand, he would be lost. Couldn't I just extend a bit more patience, especially as I had no clue that the weight this man had been carrying. I had already been walking the path of peace and must thank Allah B for his master class toward the PhD. But I asked
the next person that was on the itinerary is Unique Supreme. He was doing a video presentation before after he did his commentary, but he's currently working with the technology. So I'm gonna let him speak, and he can explain the rest of that.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace. I come under the name of Father Unique Supreme Allah. I met Allah B in the computer lab. That's when I came out of college. I said I wanted to went back home. And I created a computer lab. Now Allah B told me not to say this, but I'm going to say it. When I finished creating the computer lab, Allah B said to me, Unique, I need to be here. And at first I was like, nah. And then he started crying. For real. For real. He started crying till it touched my heart. And then he told me, Unique, you too soft to do this. Really. The type of man you are, you too soft to do this. I have to do this. And much respect to Allah B that we had kids. And if you go to YouTube, you'll see Allah B and some of the people making statements about how they went to college from being in the computer lab. Actually, we have one individual, Jew's son, who was in the computer lab, and he made a statement. And I was glad to see where he's at now. He's in Morehouse College. Is he finished? Early Jew? Is he finished yet? Okay, see, that's a beautiful thing. And that's because when you have something like we have around the corner, and your kid is there, your kid is safe. It's not on the street, there's no problems. I mean, on that corner, I seen a lot of B have that corner where, like the young kids that was coming inside the school, and they would walk past some of the people that were at the door, but they respected Allah B with peace. So they never came in there and acted any kind of way or was wild in any kind of way that it was just peace. So I created a little video, and it's mostly with Allah B speaking. It's like 48 minutes. I can't let it go for 48 minutes. But I can give you a little presentation, a preview of it, and then around when we get to the yard there, we can keep on going with it. All right? Yes.
Thank you. Peace. So before we adjourn, I've had a few requests from a few people. the firstborn of Pelon. You Allah?
Unique. So we played on silent here, we played the silent yard, so people can speak while they watch. Appreciate it.
Peace.
Peace.
I knew the lobby since I was 5 years old. And the reason I knew them that long because we was raised in the same block. And him and his little game used to chase me home from school. But lobby, back in the day, what you would call, he was a bad nigga. I mean, all of Harlem knew Kobe. And when we came into the knowledge of ourselves, like he was older than me, I used to hang out with his younger brothers, Dougie and Howard. But when we came to the knowledge of ourselves, his family moved to P-Line, and my family moved to P-Line. And me and him hooked up in P-Line. And the first stronghold we had in P-Line was on Henry Place. And we moved that stronghold to around Southern Boulevard where a lot of big women, I call her by honorable name, Judy was. I can't think of her right. Around 1968, the father needed people to go over there and teach in P-Line. So he commissioned me and allowed me to go over there and teach. So we became the firstborn in P-Line because of our dynamic teachers over there. Born alive. We'd take the babies and we would take them to baseball games. We'd take them to the basketball courts. And we would be held responsible for these babies. If you was around us and a baby got hurt and you came back unscarred, then you're going to get hurt. Because it's your responsibility to look out for them babies. When we was teaching at P-Line, me and our brother set up a GED program. We used to go down to City Hall to get funds for the programs that we were setting up in P-Line. We would hold our parliaments every Friday and fill up the school or the storefront or whatever we had. We was teaching so much in P-Line that we had to hire extra buses when we went out to Bear Mountain Park or any place else. But the main thing that a lobby would show, other than teaching, his character. He had a strong physical presence. Because I remember coming up with him, he had a lot of little games with him, but anybody can beat them. It was him. Everybody would say, oh shit, here come Cody. And everybody would go home and run indoors. And that's the truth. This was my brother, my partner. He was the one with me. I was with him because he was my older brother, and I would give him that respect. The decisions that we would make in P-Line, I would agree more with him than I would agree with myself. Because I did look up to him in the dead world and in the live world. And the only thing I can say in remembrance of him, that he really ain't dead. I went back until the last person who remembered him died. And then there'll be no more to remember, because then we'll all be together. Peace.
Peace, God. You Allah. One of the things I like to say, that as God, we learn that we only speak the truth. But we also learn with understanding that not all truth is meant to be spoken. That's one of the things I love about Allah B, because His wisdom buildeth destroy, because He knowledges equality. And He knowledges equality because He had knowledge of the wisdom, meaning that He knew where He was, who He was, what He was doing there, how He was going to do it, and why He was going to do it. Right. Time and place, purpose, is all we about. That's what knowledge itself is about. So I'm glad the brother Allah spoke about the things that he remembers and glorifies him for, because the person that we knew now, somebody like myself that I know he loved me, because I never had a conversation with him about jail, none of that stuff. I'll tell him straight up, I don't want to hear that jailhouse shit. Because that's not who I met. Not that he wasn't the one that opened up slapping season when it was time to open up slapping season. And I had his back all the way. But that's not the man I met. I know the man he was. It reminds me of people calling El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz Malcolm X to this day, when that man went through another transformation and grew some more. But people always remember that other dude. They don't remember your best. They always remember your mistakes for some reason. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't get credit for what you didn't do, as my brother Aleem likes to say. But moving right along, in tune with what I'm speaking about, I want to present the sister Earthly Jules, Inez Dinkins. Okay, well, she may have gotten upset because she may have patience issues with me. But Inez Dinkins entrusted her to present an award, a community award for Allah B in her name because she couldn't be here. So maybe she'll be at the repass and do it there, where I actually had her on the program for. But that's all good. We'll move on from her because it's not about her. So I'm going to put the chef on. Freedom.
Peace, family. Peace. I love you. You know that's my man. You know he was gangster. Y'all know he was gangster. Let me tell you something. He was loved. He loved New York. He loved the 5 boroughs of New York City. He was a 5%er. 5% is 5 boroughs of New York. I came from Brooklyn, New York. And every time when I came up to Harlem, I seen him. I met him through Allah. My name was Raheem Islam Allah. They called me Chef because I worked all over New York City. I worked in McGraw-Hill Fire Company, Colgate Company, the Plaza Hotel on 59th Street and 5th Avenue. And that was 68 and 69. But Allah B, this is his day. I was in Florida. And I got the call. I fell in the water, bust my butt. But let me tell you what Allah B said. He said, only way for you to see Allah, you'll have to get together. And y'all divided. He didn't like that. He didn't like y'all fighting one another, talking about one another. He was about unity. He was about family, friends. He didn't judge you on face value. That's not a 5% way. We're here to teach freedom, justice, and equality to all human families of the planet. And that was his job as a civilized person, to teach civilization, righteousness, knowledge of self, science, everything in life, which is love, peace, and happiness. He gave his word on one run. On one run! He gave all in his power. So what Allah B said before he go, he told me something. He said every barrel is supposed to have a book. Just as old man Justice said, every barrel is supposed to take care of their own barrel. Medina take care of Medina, Mecca take care of Mecca, Piedmont take care of Piedmont, the desert take care of the desert, and CI take care of CI. 5 books. If Medina have a party, it goes in the book. Piedmont have a party, it goes in the book. If the desert have a party, it goes in the book. The CI get a party, it goes in the book. Everything goes in the book. The baby girl, she have a party in the favor of all the children that come on the house. We gonna have a party for the boys. I'm giving a party for the boys. Okay, this is gonna be a hose, cold, dress code, white, all white. This was all predicted. We already predicted it. Made him a long time ago. Family, you're so beautiful family. I see how he taught. His family, friends,
and community. Community control. That's what law is. Saving the boroughs in New York City. A law took 5 boroughs, the 5%. Law B said.
The next person that was on the itinerary is Unique Supreme. He was doing a video presentation before after he did his commentary, but he's currently working with the technology. So I'm gonna let him speak, and he can explain the rest of that.
Peace.
Peace.
I come under the name of Father Unique Supreme Allah. I met Allah B in the computer lab. Because when I came out of college, he said I want to went back home. And I created a computer lab. Now Allah B told me not to say this, but I'm going to say it. When I finished creating the computer lab, Allah B said to me, Unique, I need to be here. And at first I was like, nah, and then he started crying. For real. For real. He started crying till it touched my heart. And then he told me, Unique, you too soft to do this. Really. The type of man you are, you too soft to do this. I have to do this. And much respect to Allah B that we had kids. And if you go to YouTube, you'll see Allah B and some of the people making statements about how they went to college from being in the computer lab. Actually, we have one individual, June's son, who was in the computer lab, and he made a statement. And I was glad to see where he's at now. He's in Morehouse College. Is he finished? Early June? Is he finished yet? Okay, see, that's a beautiful thing. And that's because when you have something like we have around the corner, and your kid is there, your kid is safe. It's not on the street, there's no problems. I mean, on that corner, I seen a lot of B have that corner where, like the young kids that was coming inside the school, and they would walk past some of the people that were at the door, but they respected a lot of B with peace. So they never came in there and acted any kind of way or was wild in any kind of way that it was just peace. So I created a little video, and it's mostly with Allah B speaking. It's like 48 minutes. I can't let it go for 48 minutes. But I can give you a little presentation, a preview of it, and then around when we get to the yard there, we can keep on going with it. All right? Yes.
Thank you. Peace. So before we adjourn, I've had a few requests from a few people. The firstborn of Pelon, Yuala.
Unique. So we played on silent here, we played the sound of the yard, so people can speak while they watch. Appreciate it.
Peace.
Peace.
I knew the law B since I was 5 years old. And the reason I knew them that long because we was raised in the same block. And him and his little game used to chase me home from school. The law B, back in the day, what you would call, he was a bad nigga. I mean, all of Harlem knew Coach. And when we came into the knowledge of our sons, like he was older than me, I used to hang out with his younger brothers, Dougie and Howard.
But when we came to knowledge of ourselves, his family moved to P-Line, and my family moved to P-Line, and me and him hooked up in P-Line. And the first stronghold we had in P-Line was on Henry Place. And we moved that stronghold to around Southern Boulevard, where a lot of big women, I call her our honorable name, Judy was. Can't think of her right. Around 1968, the father needed people to go over there and teach in P-Line. So he commissioned me and allowed me to go over there and teach. So we became the firstborn in P-Line because of our dynamic teachers over there. Born alive. We'd take the babies and we would take them to baseball games, we'd take them to the basketball courts, and we would be held responsible for these babies. If you was around us and a baby got hurt and you came back unscarred, then you're going to get hurt. Because it's your responsibility to look out for them babies. When we was teaching at P-Line, me and our brother set up a GED program. We used to go down to City Hall to get funds for the programs that we were setting up in P-Line. We would hold our parliaments every Friday in front of the school or the storefront or whatever we had. We was teaching so much in P-Line that we had to hire extra buses when we went out to Bear Mountain Park or any place else. But the main thing that Allah B would show, other than teaching, his character. He had a strong physical presence. Because I remember coming up with him, he had a lot of little games with him, but anybody can beat them. It was him. Everybody would say, oh shit, here come Cody. And everybody would go home, run indoors. And that's the truth. This was my brother, my partner. He was the one with me, or I was with him, because he was my older brother, and I would give him that respect. The decisions that we would make in P-Line, I would agree more with him than I would agree with myself. Because I did look up to him in the dead world and in the live world. And the only thing I can say in remembrance of him, that he really ain't dead. I went back until the last person who remember him died. And then there'll be no more to remember, because then we'll all be together. Peace.
Peace, God. You Allah. One of the things I like to say, that as God, we learn that we only speak the truth. But we also learn with understanding that not all truth is meant to be spoken. That's one of the things I love about Allah B, because his wisdom buildeth destroy, because he knowledges equality. And he knowledges equality because he had knowledge of the wisdom, meaning that he knew where he was, who he was, what he was doing there, how he was going to do it, and why he was going to do it. Right. Time and place, purpose is all we about. That's what knowledge itself is about. So I'm glad the brother Allah spoke about the things that he remembers and glorifies him for, because the person that we knew now, somebody like myself that I know he loved me, because I never had a conversation with him about jail, none of that stuff. I'll tell him straight up, I don't want to hear that jailhouse shit. Because that's not who I met. Not that he wasn't the one that opened up slapping season when it was time to open up slapping season. And I had his back all the way. But that's not the man I met. I know the man he was. It reminds me of people calling El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz Malcolm X to this day, when that man went through another transformation and grew some more. But people always remember that other dude. They don't remember your best. They always remember your mistakes for some reason. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't get credit for what you didn't do, as my brother Aleem likes to say. But moving right along, in tune with what I'm speaking about, I want to present the sister Earthly Jewels. Inez Dinkins. Okay, well, she may have gotten upset because she may have patience issues with me. But Inez Dinkins entrusted her to present an award, a community award for Allah B in her name because she couldn't be here. So maybe she'll be at the repass and do it there where I actually had her on the program for. But that's all good. We'll move on from her because it's not about her. So I'm going to put the chef on. Freedom.
Peace, family. Peace. I love you. You know that's my man. You know he was gangster. Y'all know he was gangster. Let me tell you something. He was loved. He loved New York. He loved the 5 boroughs of New York City. He was a 5%er. 5% is 5 boroughs of New York. I came from Brooklyn, New York. And every time when I came up to Harlem, I seen him. I met him through Allah. My name was Raheem Islam Allah. They called me Chef because I worked all over New York City. I worked in McGraw-Hill Fire Company, Colgate Company, the Plaza Hotel on 59th Street and 5th Avenue. And that was 68 and 69. But Allah B, this is his day. I was in Florida. And I got the call. I fell in the water, bust my butt. But let me tell you what Allah B said. He said, only way for you to see Allah, you'll have to get together. And y'all divided. He didn't like that. He didn't like y'all fighting one another, talking about one another. He was about unity. He was about family, friends. He didn't judge you on face value. That's not a 5% way. We're here to teach freedom, justice, and equality to all human families of the planet. And that was his job as a civilized person, to teach civilization, righteousness, knowledge of self, science, everything in life, which is love, peace, and happiness. He gave his word on one lung. On one lung! He gave all in his power. So what Allah B said before he go, he told me something. He said every barrel is supposed to have a book. Just as old man Justice said, every barrel is supposed to take care of their own barrel. Medina take care of Medina, Mecca take care of Mecca, Piedmont take care of Piedmont, the desert take care of the desert, and CI take care of CI. 5 books. If Medina have a party, it goes in the book. Piedmont have a party, it goes in the book. If the desert have a party, it goes in the book. The CI get a party, it goes in the book. Everything goes in the book. The baby girl, she have a party in the favor of all the children. It come on the heart. We gonna have a party for the boys. I'm giving a party for the boys. Okay, this is gonna be a hose, cold, dress code, white, all white. This was all predicted. We already predicted it. Been a long time ago. Family, you're so beautiful family. I see how he taught. His family, friends, and community. Community control. That's what Allah is. Saving the boroughs in New York City. Allah took 5 boroughs, the 5%. Allah be said, children gonna have their children there. Adults gonna have their day. Every borough will have a chance to bring economics in their community. It won't be no more begging nobody. He didn't want that. Allah didn't want that. He said it was a good idea, and I said the same thing. Allah Museum for the 5%. Allah Museum for the 5%. Allah 5%. The Museum of Allah 5%. That museum is going to be for Allah and it's 5%. Buses will come out of town, bear witness to that. Okay? I'm going to my Lord, I'm going to get some money. It's all about the Benjamins. Don't get it twisted. So let me tell you something. The driveway, you y'all got the merchants at, that's gonna be a driveway for the buses. Okay? That school, you go inside, the museum, see the museum, one of I mean, go in the store, get their souvenirs, go in the yard,
Asked him to let me do one or two more people. Born King and my daughter Nixada asked. I just ask that you both be considerate of the time so they don't come back. And next time I come here, I can still have a good relationship.
Peace. First, I'd like to give my most sincere condolences to the physical family, the righteous family, the Lord B. I know that he's going to live forever in the hearts and minds of everybody who knew and loved him. And as I'm here to witness it for myself, I see we are celebrating his life most righteously. And for that, I thank you all. Very briefly, my journey to me, my big brother, your father, your grandfather, your uncle, it was different than a lot of the stories that you've heard thus far. I met Born to Law in 1984 in Attica Correctional Facility. Because I was one of the young hardheads, not like my big brothers. You know, they went to the university. I went to the school of hard knocks. And I learned the hard way. But when I was a young guard, I had already heard about him because I read about him in my lessons. You know, I met most of the fire-breathing guards from that era that came right before me. And even though prison was hell, when I met a Law B, I found a little bit of heaven. I gotta tell you, I was like a kid in a candy store. Not only did I get to meet Born to Law, I got to meet Black Messiah. So I had a Law's firstborn, and then I had Born to Law, who a law commissioned to take control of P-Law. All I can tell you all very briefly is that he poured a lot of energy into me, which is why you saw me on the edges, just bubbling with this energy, because I drove from North Carolina, me, Tubar, Bialar, Shabu, Bialar, and Queen Unique. We drove from North Carolina this morning because I had to be here. I had to speak for my brother because he spoke for me. When he met me in Attica, I was a young God, and he was a man of greatness, and everybody knew it. But as I was the baby in that kind of environment, I didn't need any protection. But what he showed me was that he recognized me. And for that, I was truly grateful. He recognized me for the ability that I had as a young God to be industrious, to be creative. And because of that, when I left him in Attica, I worked with this brother right here, Beloved, and we did the Free Born to Law campaign because I made it my mission. I said, this man, I'm not leaving you, God. I'm going to bring you home. And we worked very, very diligently to bring him home. What I'm getting ready to pull out of my pocket right now, these are letters that he sent me. I never got rid of them. The time date on these is 1985. He used to write me books. I used to stand up in front of the Universal Parliament and read them. Because I wanted the nation to know that because we in prison, we're not less than.
That's right.
Y'all need to understand that a nation without an army is defenseless. If we don't have those who are bred to protect us, then we're unprotected. That means our women and our babies. So I love Law B. And I'm not taking up no more time. But I just want y'all to know that there's been many journeys to meet our brother. Mine was mine. I don't regret nothing. But I tell you that Allah B lives forever because he lives in the hearts and minds of all of us that are here today. Peace!
So to close this out, my daughter Nixada is going to lead us in the alignment.
Before I do that, I just want to say a few words. Damn, I thought it was going to be easier. I was one of those, I can't even. I'm just leave this on.
You gotta breathe. Take your time, baby. You gotta breathe. Take your time.
He was a wonderful man, and I was one of those who got to be with him almost every day after school. at a law school in Mecca, and one of my favorite memories would be one day, like, he was like, we're gonna watch a movie. It was one of those computers with the back, like, he still had it in the computer room. And he was like, we're gonna watch a movie. We went to the store, we got snacks in a bunch of brown paper bags. And him and my dad, like, they put them in the bags, mixed it up, hot popcorn, some Skittles. And we watched Dreamgirls. And he told me I was gonna be a star one day. And it's like so many memories. He had a bite on his arm from a rat. He told us he had to take a piece of skin from his butt. I love that man. Like, I love you so much. It's crazy. I wish I was able to see him more, but alright, yeah. Well, I'm sure everybody knows it. At least I hope so. I kind of forgot a little bit, but the enlightenment, the enlightener. Y'all ready? Yeah.
Hey.
On the back. Allah justice. Oh, justice. Please, Almighty Allah. Allah justice. Oh, justice. Each and every day. Each and every way. I'm gonna show and prove and teach the righteous way. Peace, Allah, Allah and justice. Oh, and justice. Peace, Almighty Allah, Allah and justice. Oh, Allah and justice. Knowledge is the foundation. Wisdom is the way. Understanding shows you that you are on the way. Peace, Allah, Allah and justice. Oh, Allah and justice. Peace, Almighty Allah, Allah and justice. Oh, Allah and justice. Culture is our God. The power is the truth. Equality only shows you that you have played your rules. Peace, Allah, Allah and justice. Oh, Allah and justice. Peace, Almighty Allah, Allah and justice. Oh, Allah and justice. God came to teach us all the righteous way. Now we must live with that which He has taught. Build to be born in this glorious day. Peace, Allah, Allah and justice. Oh, Allah and justice. Peace, Almighty Allah, Allah and justice. Oh, Allah and justice. Knowledge of the cipher is to enlighten you, to let you know that God is right amongst you. Peace, Allah, Allah and justice. Oh, Allah and justice. Peace, Almighty Allah, Allah and justice. Oh, Allah and justice. Hey! I'm just waiting for y'all later though to sing the beautiful song for him.